Like, that means you can't include him because you didn't see it.
That's a great
Like, he still hit a double.
I got to reconsider.
He hit a double. Like, wasn't that impressive?
He was cheating, though.
How?
And he was a jerk.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so it's a
general.
personal thing.
Okay.
See, this is the issue I have. This is why
He's the guy keeping people out of the Hall of Fame right now.
This is Hall of Fame
He
sanctimony.
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame
You say he
sanctimony in a
shouldn't or he
nutshell.
should?
Should.
Okay.
But he did cheat. And he
Everybody did. Almost everybody did.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, there are some guys who got through and are in, and you're like, how did that guy get in there? Wasn't he a part of the whole thing? Like, wasn't there some? And I'm not going to name names necessarily, but
It's
I think most
starting to
people.
soften.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, it's a museum in the end, right? And there's been a lot of different examples for maybe how you get around it. Like, do you set up a separate kind of wing for steroid users?
Steroid wing?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and then the whole Pete Rose stuff comes up. Like, you see today, their MLB's got to deal with Polymarket.
That's the big one that's tough. Like,
Yeah,
everyone's
and
into the
Pete
gambling
Rose,
now,
it's like,
benefiting from
no, Pete, not doing it. And I get it. Like, Pete, you're a manager and you're gambling on baseball. Clearly a problem. And I do not believe for a second he wasn't betting against his own team. I've never believed that.
Against?
He always claimed he only bet that they were going to win. There's no way that was true. I don't believe that for a second. But it's murky now. And, that's my whole point. Like, when I made my somewhat infamous statement, like, it's a hall with some plaques in it.
It's a hall with some plaques in there.
It's a very ignorant comment.
Have you been
to Cooperstown? I have. It's a brilliant place.
It's cool.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an incredibly cool place. It's a great town. That's all it is the museum.
Yes.
Like, there's nothing else in Cooperstown.
It's a hall with some plaques in there.
Okay.
That's like very similar to the Manfred. It's a trophy it's a piece of metal or whatever. Like, that ranks up there with that one.
Totally. Now, I'm not the commissioner of the league handing out that trophy. But the point I was making with that was what you did on the field of play is why you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, the Hall of Fame is just a commemoration of everything you've earned through your career. And that was my point. And my point being is, even if you're not in there, it doesn't mean I didn't witness you as a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
And Bond's the best example of that. Sure, you're not in Cooperstown. You're a Hall of Famer in my eyes because I saw you. And I know exactly what you did, and I knew exactly what you represented. So
in your heart.
Yes. And I think in the hearts of many, the eyes of many, if you watch the guy play, there's, like, I'd argue in his 3 or 4 year prime there, like when he was really rocking, I don't know if there's ever been a more dominant athlete ever in any sport. Tiger included, Jordan included.
And Bonds?
And
Yes,
the crazy part
relatively
is,
speaking.
Barry Bonds probably could have made the Hall of Fame if he never juiced.
Just in Pittsburgh.
He was so good before.
Yes.
He was just a different kind of player.
Right.
He didn't have the same power. He's smaller, the stolen bases. He could have made it either way. He didn't necessarily need to. But anyway, choices were made. Steve Phillips made the best point when it came to the Hall of Fame and that I've ever heard. He argued that the Hall of Fame should tell the story of baseball. And you can't tell the story of baseball without the guys who put up the numbers during the steroid era. You just can't.
Yeah, exactly. McGuire, Sosa, they're infamous. And I guess the argument is the Hall will be there in hundreds of years, and those guys will just be forgotten in time. And I guess that is possible. But as of right now, we're still in the middle.
Someone will be looking at like the home run leaders and be like, who's Barry Bonds?
Yeah, who is that? Why isn't he in here?
That is
it's kind of crazy.
I do like that you think he bet on his own team, because I was thinking, like, if you were going to bet on the show and you could just tank the show, would you do it? And you'd be like, yeah, probably.
Well, it's not even about tanking necessarily as a manager. It's just knowing what's coming. Like, I know who's on the mound for me stinks, and he's hungover.
Just keep him in an extra inning.
And I'm just going to hammer the opposition here. Yeah. Like, it's right in front of you. Right? I could do that with this show. Like, if I show up and I'm like, I know O's just in a brutal mood today, I'm betting awful show. Like, if there's a poly market for that,
there will be.
You can bet great show, awful show. I could possibly manipulate that. Yeah, I know. Like, Noodles has been flying. He took a red eye in. It's not going to be good. And listen, I'll look myself in the mirror. I can look at myself and say, I got nothing today. I just know it. No energy, no takes. That would be something. Imagine that controversy. Bell Media host scandal betting against good program. So how do we feel about the Hall of Excellence? How about that segue?
Oh, the level.
Well, it's no longer the level of
level,
excellence.
it's the hall.
So the Jays, Mark Shapiro and the Jays blasted out a video today that the level of excellence, which has been around forever, well, not forever, but it's been around for quite some time at the Dome, and it just kind of goes around the the rim of the dome. I don't even know how to explain.
The interior of the field. You
the
can
interior
see
of the
when
field,
you're in
yes.
watching the game.
Yeah, it's and you can see it. It's above the 200 level, I guess, and all the names are up there.
There's not that many names.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Is it? Let me.
They have
That's
to take
me.
a couple
Trivia.
Okay.
Steve,
Yes.
Delgado,
Yes.
Batista,
Yes.
Halliday,
Yes.
Yeah.
Gaston.
Yeah.
Cito's
Cito's
up
up
there.
there. Yeah.
Is that it?
No.
Joe Carter.
Joe Carter's up there.
Of course.
Uh,
Fernandez, I think, is up there.
I think
Tony's
Tony
up there.
Fernandez is up there. Alomar was, and they took
And
him
they
down.
Right.
I think Paul Beeston might be up there.
Yes, Beeson's
Okay.
I
up
believe
there.
Beeston is,
Yep.
and I would
pretty
guess Gillick is up there too. I think Gillick's up there.
I don't
so
love it.
They're moving it to a Hall of Excellence, which is effectively like a museum within the park.
But you can only see it when you're walking on the 100 concourse, right? Like that's
Yeah,
where-
it's going to be out, I think, in the right field, like 100
yeah,
concourse.
it's much less visible. There's something to me, and I would always find when I'm at the Dome watching a game, my eye would always be drawn to a level of excellence, and
Totally.
you kind of go along and you read it. It's just a really nice way to kind of shout from the rooftops, these are the best of the best that we had that made an impact in our organization. And it kind of feels to me like they're hiding it away a little bit.
Well, two more guys. I was going to say George Bell. He's up there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
Tom Cheek is up there.
Oh, yes,
All right.
yes.
Of course.
And then Buck Martinez is going in. That was announced today. Buck is not going to be a part of the level of excellence. He's going into the Hall of Excellence. I actually don't mind this. I understand what you're saying because it is cool that when you kind of walk into the park, the names pop and you see them and you're familiar with them. I think kind of a museum, and I'm curious to see what it looks like. And I'm curious to know if this was always the plan. Like they've gone through all of these renovations. Why didn't you do this a year ago or two? Like when you unveiled all the new park, so to speak, why didn't you just do it then? I'm not quite certain. The cynic in me would suggest that is prime real estate where the level of excellence is,
Forever.
and they're selling that. Yeah, like the cynic in me, call me crazy, because if you go into that park, and you guys have both been down there, and it is glaring how many advertisements are all over the park. Like there is not a square inch in that field.
Well, like, aren't the new bars like? Isn't it the Corona?
Everything's
All
got a
bright.
name on it. Everything. So I have to believe they're looking at that saying, we could possibly use that and strap someone's name on it, make
But then
some money.
couldn't you even just brand it as the Coors Light level of
Yes.
excellence and leave it how it is?
But isn't
You know?
that cheapening it?
I don't know.
Like you're going to
We've cheapened
sponsor the
everything
level of
already.
excellence,
Sure.
though?
The
Like,
Cooperstown Hall of Fame brought to you by Coors
yeah,
Light.
exactly, exactly. Like I think at some point you got to draw the line. But I think if they do this right. And I will say this, what Mark Shapiro and the Blue Jays have done over the last few years with the park, and obviously where they are today in terms of the reputation among the fans compared to where they were this time last year, I have a belief that they will get it right, that it will look classy and it will pop. I think there's something to that. Like what they've done with the renovation is they're trying to get people to move around the park. Like that's basically what they've done. Like with a lot of the bars and the standing room onlys, like they're trying to make it more of an atmosphere, a laid-back atmosphere. It's not only about the game. You can go and hang out. And I think that's a part of what they're promoting here is get down to the game early, walk around, go check out the Hall of Excellence before you get to your
casual
seats.
fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everyone's
And
going to want to sit and watch for 3 hours.
and I think there's something to that. Like I agree with your assessment, Kara, of like the reaction to seeing the names, but that's it. There's no experience to it.
No.
You see the name and then you sit down. Where this, if they do it right and make it a history of the club and in a museum within the park, I actually think it has the chance to really pop and look pretty cool.
Doesn't Yankee Stadium have Monuments Park,
Yes, that Monument Park.
which is at the back, but it's actually cool.
It's incredibly cool.
It's
You're
not
not going to
Hall.
replicate that.
No, well, I guess you could.
Yeah, it's kind of the Yankees kind of own that. But yeah, I mean, you go to Yankee Stadium, you go to Fenway, you go to any of you go to
Dodger
Wrigley,
Stadium.
Dodger Stadium. Like and I think it speaks to the history of the Jays. Like I was thinking about it today when it was announced that they're 50 years in.
yeah.
Like they've got a great, rich history. Where at the same time, I'm sure if you were born in the 60s or prior to it, there'd still always be a kind of new feel to them because they didn't exist when you were born. Like if you're born in the 40s or 50s or 60s, like I have that experience with the Raptors. They've been around for 30 years. They still feel relatively new
Like an
to me.
expansion
They
team
do.
to you?
Yeah, because like I grew up without them. And
You
then
remember when it started?
I remember when they started. I remember going down to games. I was at the draft when they took Damon Stoudemire, and I remember it vividly. And yet they're 30 years in. It still feels kind of new in a weird way. But 30 years for the Raps, 50 years with the Jays, like that's a long, rich history that you should promote, right?
Why did you go to the draft?
It was at the Dome.
Oh,
Yeah, it was at the Dome.
wow.
They were, I believe, giving out tickets for free. I went down with a buddy and his older brother, and we stuck around until probably the 12th or 13th pick and got out of there. But we were in the 500 level. Damon Stoudemire they picked. It was at the Dome.
Wow.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was.
I
crazy.
agree with Kara. I like looking up and thinking about, Delgado. I love Delgado.
Yeah.
And now it's just gone.
I don't know that it's enough of a draw for people to be like, let's go and walk through the Hall of Excellence.
Yeah.
Let's take a minute out of the ball game.
Yeah.
And just go check out the hall.
Yeah.
I think when it was the level of excellence, it was right there. You could easily, I don't know.
I'm a proponent of it. And shout out to Buck Martinez. That's pretty cool that he's going in. And obviously very well deserved.
Yes.
Considering, his history with the team. But on the Jays, the news today, Trey Savage will start the year on the IL. I don't think anyone can be remotely surprised by this.
No. I was
because of the way they've been handling him.
a touch concerned when I woke up to that news. But then you saw it came out too, like his arm's feeling better and he's just not ready to go.
Which I will.
You don't believe it?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I'll believe it when I see him pitch. I'm sure it is feeling better. He's still pitching. He's still working out. I don't this is more of a timeline in terms of them breaking camp and him not pitching for them
Yes.
early. And he has not pitched in a spring training game. So it was a scenario where, again, there was some speculation. Is he start on a pitch count? Do they kind of piggyback with Lauer? And it's almost like he's an opener and Lauer comes in the third, fourth inning. That never really made a ton of sense to me. And I'm just saying I'm bracing for it maybe being a couple weeks, maybe it's a month. I don't think they have an answer on when Savage will be ready.
100%. The way I looked at it, and maybe I'm just the ever optimist right now with the Jays after what they came off with recency bias, but if the trade-off for getting what we experienced in the World Series run was what we're dealing with now, I'll take it every day of the week. And I think from what it sounds like is, Kevin Gausman said his arm wasn't bouncing back the way he thought it would coming into camp. It's an issue he showed up to camp with. Now, for all intents and purposes, what we're hearing now is the arm is feeling better. There's no issue. He's just got to ramp up now. So that to me is encouraging. And if that's the trade-off for what he was able to do so unexpectedly in the World Series run, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, they knew this was coming. Like he
100%.
said he showed up to camp and knew his shoulder wasn't feeling right. Gausman did an interview, I think, with Foul Territory and said that it just wasn't popping for him. Like, he knows his body. He knew he didn't feel it 100%. They were going to take it easy. Where it compounds is that Bieber's not ready. We don't know when he will be. And now Barrios is not ready. So Lauer steps in to the rotation. And Lauer had a really good run last year. Like a really good run.
He was their best pitcher for the first.
They needed him in the middle.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like he was a savior for them kind of early and middle parts of the season. And this is why you go and bring Scherzer back in. So you're going to have Gausman opening day, probably sees Cody Ponce. Ponce's been really good in spring training.
Great.
So those are your three guys. And then Scherzer, you see what you can get. Lauer, you see what you can get. And then the other three guys, we'll see when they return.
What is your level of concern? Play the game.
In terms of the overall season?
The pitching staff. Rotation.
I'm like a six-pack and a pint.
Okay.
Like, I'm not overly concerned because this is why you have depth. The top three guys I'm very confident in. Scherzer, I still think can give them something. It's just not going to be 30 starts. So, yeah, this was likely going to be their bright spot, like what they were leaning on is the rotation. Ask me in a month. Like if Bieber's still not close, if Savage is still on the IL, could be a different story.
Bieber's the only one that concerns me. I'm stone sober on this. Like I have zero level of concern.
Wow, zero.
This team right now with this pitching staff, to me, is planning for October, which makes me feel great.
That's a good call.
Nice.
If that's what
you
they're
get
planning
there,
for,
but
right?
I hear you.
For sure, they have to get there. But they're planning for October. They made the additions in the offseason they needed to make. They're not as healthy as they'd like. I'd rather them have health concerns in spring training at the start of the year than at the All-Star break or in the back end. So I feel great.
Feeling great.
And to that point, like if Bieber misses the first half, but you have him in the playoffs, like what do you? But you have to make
then
the playoffs.
he might be more fresh for the second half and for the playoff run.
I guess that was last year, right?
Very tough division.
Oh.
Very tough division. I don't know if you guys are aware of that.
Heard that rumor.
Very tough division. But, yeah, and their bullpen, You know what's interesting is like Jeff Hoffman is just returning as their closer.
Quiet.
And no one's talking
about it.
Like everyone's like, yeah, I'm not.
Can you imagine
it's
like
all
the
good.
Leaf equivalent of that? It would be all we talked about.
Running it back with the same team.
Like if a goalie just got lit up in
Yeah.
Game 7, gave up 7 goals, was terrible.
Yeah.
We would be talking about it.
Absolutely.
And they're just like, no, he's that guy.
Yeah, he's just our guy. And I think there's a hope, possibly a belief they will address it before the trade deadline, that they'll go and acquire someone that maybe pushes Jeff Hoffman down. But
And also, you never know. I'm okay with that. You get into the season, you see who's performing out of the pen, and you might be able to shift some guys around. Like
closer, though, like if Arlen's not a closer, Rogers is not a closer, I don't know. I mean, listen, they've got a deep enough bullpen, I think, to be fine. You know, and bullpens are very precarious year over year. You never really know what you're going to get or how it's going to look. But it is interesting. Hoffman is just right back in that spot.
we're just going to run it back.
Yeah, we're just going to run it
problems.
back. Don't worry about last year in the 9th inning against the Dodgers. And
I wanted to ask you guys about that. Remember last year at this time we were talking about, like, can the Dodgers win 120 games? Remember that conversation?
Yeah.
We talked about it on the show. They got the best closer on the market. They got the best outfielder and hitter on the market. Shohei's going to be pitching, like, the whole year. Are they, like, why aren't we talking about that now? Is it just
in
nobody's
terms of them
ever
winning
gonna,
120 games?
Yeah, like, why is
I
it
just
not?
think it's unreasonable
it's
to
just
expect
never gonna
it.
happen?
Well, I mean, the record's 116, I believe,
Seattle,
right? The
right?
Mariners. And, like, to do that is just – and I think, like what Kara said, like, everything is planned for October with the Dodgers.
Right.
You know, it's like if they're not purposely trying to lose or anything like that, and they're going to win 90-plus games. But I just don't see them being obsessed with chasing a record like that.
No, they're going to rest Freddie Freeman when they need to, and they're going to rest Shohei when they need to.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like Seattle blew past the record. I remember the Sox a few years ago had 108, I think. I don't
There's
know.
a
Was
couple
the
that
previous
hovered
record
around
115
over
and they
100,
barely passed it? I don't know. Look that up, Doogie. Find out if you can, like, get a stat on the chances of setting a record for wins in Major
There's
League
got to be a
Baseball.
poly market on that, no?
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe FanDuel supplies something like that. Like, you'd have to get huge plus odds. Like, plus.
What do you think the over-under for their wins is? 103?
No, I'll bet you it's not
99?
that high. Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
99 and a
I
half.
would say that's pretty fair.
Like, they were a wild card team last year.
Yeah, but
They
But
started
that's 'cause
so
they're
well.
Division too. Like yes, the fact that they didn't win more regular season games, but I think that's more the way they manage their regular season. But yeah, I could see.
Okay. I'm not betting against the Dodgers. Like, they're the best team in the league, clearly.
Yeah.
And they got better.
they got better.
Yes,
Which is
they got
disgusting.
undoubtedly better. Yeah, it's
That's more what we're going to be talking about as they get closer to a new CBA.
That we hate them? I love them.
You love them?
Yeah, I like the
Jonas,
Dodgers.
this is
Yeah.
worse than the Juan Soto take.
It warms my heart.
Why?
I don't know. I like watching their team. Like, I like being up late watching. I just enjoy it. I
You're
enjoy
the
their
only
team.
person who wants to be up late watching baseball.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's very, like, quiet. I like going to Dodger Stadium. And I
Sure.
like a big team that's just awesome. And one thing I never understood with this, why are people not mad at the owners of the other teams that they don't spend? Like, why are
This
we
is
not talking
all
about
part of the
Pittsburgh and
issue.
Oakland and, like,
Very
all these
valid.
places where they're just pocketing the revenue sharing? I love the Dodgers.
Do
yeah.
you not enjoy parity in the league? Like
There
other
is-
teams having a chance?
But that's not their fault. Is it?
Sure it is. They just,
you know,
it
here,
is and
one
it
more
isn't,
thing.
yes.
I think they have the second best farm system in the sport.
Yeah,
have
they
a-
draft
they
So,
have a
like,
incredibly well.
they just do everything well.
No,
I
I
don't know. I
totally
don't
agree.
hate
I think
that.
dynasties generally are very good for sports.
I did. Yeah,
Like parity, the reach for parity puts you in a very muddy position. Like, I know the NFL, although the NFL doesn't have parity, like the Patriots have
This past
dominated
year
for
we did,
25
without-
years.
Yes.
You know, it's overstated with the NFL. Like, in the AFC, I believe the AFC Championship game has had the Pats and the Chiefs exclusively, or like, 95% of the time the last 15 years or 20 years. So it's totally overstated. The NBA, look what the NBA is doing. Like, they're chasing parity, and they're in a worse place today than they have been in forever.
Remember when we had Golden State and Cleveland every year? It was like, this,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I love that.
No, exactly.
I
I
don't-
think the Dodgers.
I
And
don't
go
mind
beat
the
'em.
really good teams. Like the dynasty teams, I guess it's more what really bothers me is every single free agent is going to the Dodgers.
Right, but to
Anyone
Jonas's
no,
point,
that
then
gets old to me,
someone
like-
else can spend. Like, someone else can give
A
someone.
lot of these guys got offered more money, and they just chose to go to a team that's going to contend for a world championship, and they get to live in LA.
Yeah,
No, it's pretty
well,
good.
I hear you, but like it was pointed out during the World Series last year that like Freddie Freeman would have happily stayed in Atlanta. They didn't pay him.
Yes.
I mean, that was a ball drop by Atlanta.
The
big
Red
time.
Sox traded Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Right? Like it wasn't like the Dodgers said, we're giving you more money.
Yeah.
Blake Snell was there for anybody. He won Cy Youngs, and people were like, we're not paying him. The Dodgers were like, fine, we'll take you.
Yeah.
Like Glass now was available. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it with Yamamoto, like, and that was a brilliant investment, clearly.
Yeah.
But they offered $350 million, and that's what 99% of teams aren't going to do it. Ohtani was a different story. Clearly, there's 2 or 3 teams, maybe 4 or 5, that would pay that kind of money. But if I think Ohtani would have stayed with the Angels if they were well run.
They were not a tire fire.
Yes. You know, What do you got for us, Doogie? We're going to the Doogie desk here. What's up, Doogie?
So FanDuel does have that. LA Dodgers to break MLB record and win 117 plus regular season games is plus 980 on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Plus
I don't know.
That's not high enough.
That's not enough for me to sprinkle on that. What's their win total on the year, Doogie?
103.5.
Wow, you nailed it, Jonas.
Wow.
Well
Look
done.
at Jonas, a bookmaker now. You got a little casino at your house, or
I'm
what?
betting on the show.
103.5. I'd bet the under on that. Like, I get how talented and deep they are. It's the
a lot
NL
of
West is a
games.
pretty good division, and it's a lot of games, man. 100. You got to hit the over 104 wins. I think I'd bet the under on a win total for the Dodgers. What's the Jays at, Doogie?
94 and a
Stand your
half.
toes. Yeah, I would say I'd probably actually 89 and a half or something.
Lower?
Yeah, because again, tough division. It might have been bet up. I feel like it was 89 and a half.
88.5 for the Toronto
Wow.
Blue Jays.
88 and a
I'd
half.
take the over.
I think that maybe it's been bet down. I wonder if it opened higher than that.
And it's plus money at this point for 88.5 over.
The over, so you're getting plus money on the overs. So they're enticing you. That's FanDuel kind of saying,
We don't believe in this.
not sure. Hey, listen, the Jays. I'm optimistic. I feel good, but I've said many times over the last couple of months, you look at their last 2 seasons, it's a great example of how you just don't know how it's going to play out.
They overachieved last year. No one was
Yes.
expecting them to do that. So there's going to be
Everything
some
broke
regression
their
to the
way.
mean.
Yeah. But if you get to 87, 88 wins, you're into the playoffs. You're not going to win the division, but you're likely a wild card team. Close. Again, every year is a little bit different. All right, we've got Keegan coming up from Florida. Keegan Matheson will join us on this Savage story and how he sees the rotation playing out, the bullpen playing out, and his take on the level of excellence coming to an end for the Hall of Excellence. We'll see what Keegan has to say on that. Carlos coming up. Koliakova will be in studio as well. We got some big games in the NHL tonight. The Leafs had their fan day down at Scotiabank. Jonas, were you down there fanning it up?
I was not.
Oh, okay. That's disappointing. We'll tell you more about that. And Kara's in here. Jonas in here. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Tomorrow on TSN 1050, your Toronto Raptors hit the road to Denver to take on the Joker and the Nuggets. Coverage starts at 8:30 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The Raptors live here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Just watch me dance.
All right, OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Keegan Matheson in just over half an hour. Carlo Koliakova will join us for a little round table. Big games in the NHL tonight. Leafs are off. They're back in action tomorrow. Ottawa taking on the Islanders tonight. It's a big game.
Tough loss last night for them.
Yeah.
That one stings.
Did you see that Cole Hudson?
Yes.
Oh man. Oh man.
Can be
He looks
pretty good.
Unreal.
Pretty good. Well, that's it. Like Washington's got a couple of young kids on that team and young kids coming, right?
They did a great job. Like you talk about we're talking about all the time, like retool, rebuild, whatever.
Yes.
They like reshaped their roster and it's like, how did they do this?
And yet they're going to miss the playoffs likely this year.
Yeah, there you go. It's hard.
It's very tough, Jonas.
Pro
I saw
sports.
you write. What were you writing today? You and CJ had very compelling articles. in The
CJ wrote
Athletic
about
today.
Matthews.
And does he have an overall thesis on how he sees it playing out?
I think
I don't need
very
you to
much,
speak on behalf of CJ.
You should go read the article.
I was perusing it earlier today.
It's very much TBD, which is an insane place for them to be, where it's like they don't know. Like it's after the season, I guess they'll sort out what he wants.
Well,
And I think that gets to what I wrote, which is like, if you're gonna keep him, you're gonna have to like fix it. Like you're not tearing the whole thing down, which I actually think is what they should do.
You think they should keep him and
Yes.
do
And
like
it
a
doesn't
2 to
seem
5
like-
year or less than that, like 2-year kind of turnaround and just
we
rebuild
gotta get
around
better
him?
words than like retool and rebuild.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
wish we had something else, but
Tweak.
tweak. That's pretty good. That's their,
I don't know
their
that
selling
anybody
pitch to
would call it
Matthews.
You think, yeah,
we're gonna
tweak
tweak
it?
things here.
You going to tweak something?
But I just don't think tearing it down makes sense. Yeah, that's where I landed.
Yeah, and it sounds like Matthews is going to have surgery now. And Berube said today that they're going to have an announcement on that relatively soon. Which if he's going to have surgery, like, get on it, right? Like, I'm sure there's some swelling and stuff.
Yeah, I remember
but-
Jason Tatum got hurt in the finals game, and I think he had surgery like that day
Yeah.
or that
Yeah.
night or something, and the next day.
Right. It's like Santander. It's like, I'll just put my feet up for a while. Play some golf, and then actually,
Something's wrong here.
yeah, maybe I should get some surgery. How about we get going with this so we can rehab and get back? But it does sound like he'll have surgery and he'll be fine for the opening, of next season, or certainly of training camp. Do you think? And I don't think this is being discussed enough. Like that's through the purview of like the Leafs don't know what he's going to be thinking or what he wants. Do you think the Leafs know the player he's going to be the rest of his career?
How could they?
Isn't that important?
But
to
I
point
think,
out?
see, this is like I
Like, isn't that something that they kind of need to put their finger on and
okay. So
try to get a read
what do you
on?
guys think he is? Like, if you were them and you're like, what is he going to be? What is he?
Just overall, Austin
Yeah, like
Matthews,
what do
is
they
he?
have for the next 5 years?
I'm the wrong person to ask because Leafs Nation's going to jump down my throat. I think he's a fantastic regular season player, but disappears in big moments.
Okay.
And whether it be NHL playoffs, Four Nations, he was better in the Olympics, wasn't the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He just disappears for me in big games when you need him.
And even in the regular season the last 2 years, it's not what it had been in the previous 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
Do you have an answer on that, Jonas?
What I think he is, I think that it's fair. Like his playoff
I think
resume
it's
is
a
not
totally
good.
fair. Like this is
But
2 years now of
but
wondering where he is.
Here's the thing: if you look at last year and like it didn't look good, it wasn't good. I think he still scored at a 40-ish goal pace and like a 90-point pace.
Really
and
good
like
player, great, player.
awesome defensively.
Mhm.
So to me, I feel like he's suddenly become underrated here, where people are like, "Well, he's not what he used to." It's like, yeah, what he was for that peak is like nothing ever we've seen in the NHL.
Well,
what they
let's
potentially
just relax, Jonas. What are you talking about?
has there ever been a 69 goal scorer who was nominated for the Selke Trophy? I don't think so.
You're saying we've never seen anything like Austin Matthews.
Tell
at
me
his
who.
peak. So Wayne Gretzky. Have you heard of him?
You're
before?
missing the point. You're missing the
No,
point.
I'm not missing
that
the point.
type of player.
What type of player? A two-way center?
An elite goal scorer
Yes.
who's also one of the best at his position defensively.
Okay.
Tell me who else did that.
Well,
Exactly. There isn't anyone. They just
But yet he still hasn't found the
Okay.
success. Like that's
100%.
I mean, I'd say
Two things can be
Draisaitl.
true.
You're
Yeah.
still in the school of thought that Austin Matthews is not the problem. We should keep
No,
changing the
that's-
things around him.
yes.
Whereas I feel like we're getting to that point
I feel
very
like-
quickly where we've changed everything around him. What else are you really going to do?
I feel like if you have a 40 goal scorer who's awesome defensively as your number one center, I'd take that 100 times out
No
of 100.
question.
Sure.
Now, should
And
he
I-
be the second highest paid player in the league?
But that's
You
that
can't
ship is
rectify
sailed.
that.
He's signed.
Yep. No, I
And
don't
he
disagree.
signed
I
when
don't,
he was at like his peak.
I don't disagree with you. Again, though, the peak, I think the problem people have is that
Yes.
2 years ago, McDavid had peaked. He's still peaking. Kucherov had peaked. He's still peaking. McKinnon and Draisaitl, like it has
And that's
been
where
such
it
a
gets-
drop off from where it was.
But there's so many things that go into that, right? Like there's his health,
Yes.
there's the coaching, there are his teammates, there are his line mates, there's there's just so
Okay,
much.
So now they've changed the teammates. They've changed the coaching.
They've
mixed
worsened
up the
all that
lines.
stuff.
Okay.
So like if you
What would you like to see the Leafs change in throughout the next 2 seasons to convince Austin Matthews to stay and that it's going to make the team better around?
there's a lot. That's like where I
It's a loaded
get.
question,
is it
for
even
sure.
reasonable to be able
I think
to do
it's
it all?
reasonable that if you they've made a lot of negative moves. If you start making positive moves in a series, or even just don't do things that are bad,
Mhm.
the team is going to be better. I mean, this is what we were going to talk about. If you had a better coach or a different coach, you can say Craig Berube is a great coach. Like it hasn't gone well here.
Mhm.
If you had a top coach or a better coach or a coach who works better with these players, they are a better team. I think people have understandably gotten so down on this team, and I just don't think it's as bad as it is now. I don't think it was as good as it was last year. I don't think they were a 108-point team. I don't think they were as good as people thought they were, but I don't think they're this bad.
No, I would agree with you. I think there's separate conversations though that can be had on this front. Like the one you're having, the one that you're pitching, is you can get back to a respectable level in the league, which
next year, and then the year after, I think then you're thinking.
Okay, let me ask you this question though, because I think you stand you are of the same belief with Matthews and Nylander, right? Do you believe it's possible, with everything we've known, and this is not a small sample size, this isn't projecting if Matthew Schaefer can be the man or if Celebrini's going to be a dog throughout his career, and I've used the term dog in a positive light. Do you believe you can win, be a championship caliber team with Austin Matthews and William Nylander as your two best players leading the way?
As your two best?
Is there enough data in your opinion?
Can they be two of your four best players? Do they have to be the two best? Like,
well, you think you're fine. Like you're talking about Matthews as the most unique player in the history of the game. You're going to find two guys better than him.
The Juan Soto of the NHL.
Yeah, you're going to find two guys better than those two players. How are they getting those two guys?
I think
with a tweaking retool on the fly.
I think if you can make the roster around them better, if you can get a number two center who takes some of the pressure off Matthews, who like
Tavares was 7 years ago.
Sure.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
You believe a Stanley Cup can be won with Matthews and Nylander being the top dogs and running the room?
Yes,
and
with
leading?
like an asterisk because it depends on so much else, right? Who's the coach? Who did they get on defense? Who have they added up front? Have they gotten more speed? Like, what does Matthew Nyes become? Does Easton Cowan become like something better than like I don't know what he's going to be?
Okay.
There's just so much unknown. I think we're getting. I get it. It's deserved. It's been a terrible season. They haven't performed in the playoffs. Like there is a lot that goes into it. And I hesitate to bring this up, but like people said the same thing about Steve Yzerman forever. It's like this guy's not a winner. This guy can't win.
Yep.
Team was awesome, and at 32 years old, he wins his first Stanley Cup.
Sure.
I don't know if that's going to happen with Austin Matthews, but Steve Yzerman once scored 60 goals. I think twice.
Was he up for the Selke?
I don't think so. I actually looked this up because
it's not as good.
I'm right with that. There hasn't been that.
I know, but it's such an arbitrary guideline of like only center scoring this amount with that like nomination. It's like okay, I guess I can't challenge you on that. It doesn't mean
you guys disagree though. You don't think so?
Listen, I think the Yzerman.
It's not a perfect
analogy. It's not perfect, but it's reasonable. Now the pushback is that was prior to the salary cap. So it's a completely different world now.
Okay, I'll give you another one. I mean, they didn't win, but they got to the final. Like Joe Thornton, forever.
Yeah.
Those teams were like, what? They just can't get it done in the playoffs. Yeah. They had the tricky thing with that is like they had Logan Couture come up and like he was amazing and like they got Joe Pavelski and it's like Joe Pavelski is like the greatest playoff player there is.
They had Burns and they had Vlasic and they had
a lot.
I mean, and listen, that's probably the better case. Now, again, they didn't win.
Yeah, but they got
very similar reputation, very similar demeanor, in like I think Marlowe and Willie kind of similar, so yeah, you could use that as an example for sure. And I'm not, I think I would lean that way as well as I'm keeping them and I'm retooling and I'm working everything else out. It's going to take some time. I'm not putting the same timeline as you would put on it. I would be going to those two players and say, listen, this may take 4 or 5 years. And I can't guarantee you anything. And I'm not going to cut corners because your contract's up in 2 years. That's not happening. That ship has sailed. That may have been the case 4 or 5 years ago. They tried it. It didn't work. But I honestly, I don't know if I can definitively sit here and say those two guys with what they represent, their demeanor, their DNA, how they operate, that if they're the top dogs in your room,
yeah, but maybe they aren't.
Win.
Maybe you add players.
When has it ever happened in history where two giants of an organization,
literally the San Jose Sharks, exactly, where they took the captaincy away from Joe Thornton and gave it to Joe Pavelski, and
didn't win. Again, did not win. but didn't they give it to Thornton?
No, they took it from. I think they took it from.
Eventually,
both sides.
they gave it to Pavelski.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was during that cup run though or not.
No, yeah, I think it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay, you're using one example.
I think the whole thing, like if you were to sum it up to me, it's like it depends. It depends who they get to run the front office. It depends who the coach is. It depends what moves they make. Like if they keep making moves that are negative,
no, that goes without saying.
Gone.
Yes, of course. If you're going to make mistakes, it doesn't matter who you have.
And
you
guys know, remember what it was like before those guys, and it's like, who are the best players on these teams? It's like Kessel and Phaneuf. And like Kessel, good player, but like if he's your best, you know what I mean?
Not your best guy.
Like I don't know.
There's so many layers they painted themselves into a corner and dug such a big hole at this point that it's tough to address any one thing and think this is the thing they need to change. To make it a more successful squad in the next 2 years. Like to me, this is going to be. We were talking about before the show. I think people need to buckle up. This is going to be a minute.
It's very possible that even if you keep your main guys, that it still is going to go south.
That's the thing.
Like it could.
I actually kind of think no matter which direction, like both are tricky. Like if they try to fix this, tweak it,
Sure.
it probably won't work. But if you try to rebuild, they could just be bad for 10 years.
Yeah.
15 years.
Now, I do think like these players need to take some of the responsibility themselves.
Sure.
Again, when you look at what happened with the Gudis hit and all that kind of stuff, and you can roll your eyes and say it's been overstated, that's what I'm speaking to, like of their giant, their
Culture.
and who those two guys are.
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe Thornton, you can say what you want about. He fought in his career.
Yeah,
like
but he had a different type of reputation where it's like, is he taking it seriously enough?
Yeah,
Like he's
kind of laid back.
laid back.
Well, but that's like what these guys, their reputation in a way, Willie in particular.
Sure.
But the point being is, if they're around with Tavares, like those guys are giants in that room. They're giants. You're never building something where it's like, you guys just stand over here while these new 10 players create everything that's going to happen around you. That's not going to happen. They're not going to strip the C from Matthews.
No. But if you
use
add the
San Jose
right
analogy,
personalities,
But they've tried adding the right personality.
Oh, that
How many
part's
years in a
different.
row have they brought in veteran guys to try and bring in and be that personality in the room
That's
to kind
fair.
of shift the culture, and it hasn't worked. That's why I feel like that's been the last 5-6 years has been tweaking, bringing in different guys, bringing in veterans, bringing in, changing one little thing here or adding some depth on D or whatever it be, and the tweaks aren't working.
but Hayes and I would both have said at the time, like there was reason to change that, and they just didn't.
Sure.
Like we were talking about it in 2023. Like, are they seriously going to? Or heck, we were talking about like 2021. Like, are they going to do it again?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, we're going to do it again. And then 2022, are they going to do it again? Yeah, they're going to do it. And then it's just like, it's not like we agree. Like, yeah.
Well, and one thing you can't argue, whichever way they choose to go, with these two guys in particular, it's not as if they're being impatient. Like 10 years is an eternity in pro sports. Like 10 years is a long time.
I know you're going somewhere where I'm going to disagree.
No, I'm not. Again, I'm not promoting one way or the other. I'm saying if they decide we're moving, like collectively as an organization, and I would say this is a two-way street. If the players say 10 years is enough, I'm moving on, that's reasonable too. Doesn't mean everyone's going to love it, but it's not as if they pull the chute 3 or 4 years in, either party. But if they collectively, the team says, we're going to move in a different direction, you can't criticize them for being impatient. They would have collectively concluded, whether it was the right choice or not, we'll find out 5 years from now, 7, 8 years from now. But it's not, they used to have a history of trading a guy too early or moving, and they did that in some cases throughout this era, but they didn't with these guys. No. They let them breathe. They're veterans. They've given them everything.
Every opportunity in the world.
Yeah, like you have enough here to conclude one way or the other what you think is in the best interest of the franchise, and we'll see what they end up doing. My instincts are you keep Matthews, you keep Nylander, and you try to turn things around, but you do so understanding we have to load up the system.
Yes.
Like I would have a mandate. If I took over the team today, I would walk in there and say, I want 30 draft picks in the next 3 drafts.
Wow.
Find 30 prospects, and 5 or 6 have to hit.
Or you're all fired.
Yeah, sure. It's pro sports. It's business. I would say find me 30 picks in the next 3 drafts.
It's the sleeping giant of like why this hasn't worked.
Yeah. Like,
or
we
like
gotta
one
do
of
it.
them.
Which means if you're doing that, then what you're really saying is it's a 5 or 6 year plan, because those 30 picks and the 5 or 6 guys that make it, they're not making it in the next 2 or 3 years.
That I don't agree with. Because if you look at
your plan,
but you got to, you can't get the prospects and just trade them. You got to let them grow.
Well, you can do both.
No, but if it's a 5 or 6 year plan, why are you even bothering to keep Willie and Austin around? Like, just tear it down, get all the picks you can get while they're in their prime.
But see, even that is
then
like,
it's no guarantee.
Yeah,
and they hold the card. It's complicated.
It's really complicated because those guys hold control. So they
100%.
So you might just get back like.
But do you think either of them are dying to stay here and ride this out? Yeah.
If I'm guessing, I think they both would want to stay, but like we don't know what Austin Matthews thinks.
Yeah.
I mean, the earthquake it would cause if like CJ reports in April or May that he would like to go elsewhere, like they're in trouble. Like if that happens, you can be like, wow, great, they'll trade. It's like, good luck.
Well, there's no coming back from it either for him. Like once you've made, it's a massive decision in his career and his legacy.
Yes.
Because if he makes that choice, there's going to be a lot of people that turn on him.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people that turn on
100%.
him. And I'm sure it means a lot to him, what he represents to this city, to the market, to the fan base, to the history of the team. And, you know, I'm sure 5-6 years ago, he was looking at it saying, I'm a lock for Legends Row. I'm a lock for numbers. I'm locked for retirements. You know, and I'm not saying that won't happen. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in the future? We're getting way ahead of ourselves. But look at what Mitch Marner just went through, and he was a free agent. If you kind of demand out, that's a different story.
But if the Leafs
that gets dicey.
Let this go to the point where he demands out, and their ability to get a return from him because he's already said publicly that he wants out, then that's another hit against the organization too, against the front office. Because why weren't you having quiet conversations with him then and trying to deal him before that went public?
And that's tricky. What they have to figure out. It's tricky. I hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah,
like,
it would be a really sad.
It would be a horrible way to finish it, and yet maybe somewhat fitting because
I was going to say, put a bow on.
Look where we are.
Yep.
You know, it's been 10 years. They've won 2 rounds, and look at how dark it is right now. You know, and it sucks. But it's the reality of where they are. But I think you're right, Jonas. I think they'd want to stay, be committed, take this as a shot. You know, like you guys challenge yourselves.
Literally never miss the playoffs.
Yeah,
I guess
like be embarrassed by it and come back with a chip on your shoulder. And I thought that the problem is I thought they would do that this year after the Florida series. And after Marner left, like I was doing shows, my show, Jay, Sports Center. I was like, I think Matthews is going to have a huge year. And I fully believed that, and it just didn't materialize. You know, I thought he'd come out flying, be like, you want to challenge me? Let's go.
We underrated a lot of stuff. We underrated, like, Marner. We underrated their D, their other, like, so much. His health.
Valid. All right, what do we got here? Okay, so the Leafs just announced it, that Matthews has undergone surgery.
Oh, he had the surgery, okay.
MCL knee repair surgery today in New York. Because we were wondering, he wasn't at the Fan Fest thing, and I'm like, he'd have to be at that. But that would explain why he wasn't, because he's in New York. And he had surgery today. Recovery time, approximately 12 weeks, so 3 months. There you go. They must have been listening to us, and they said, we got to get you to New York and have surgery right now.
They flew him over immediately.
We're not going to Santander this thing. We're doing it. Okay,
they make a valid point on OverDrive. We should probably have the surgery today.
Yeah, great call. He got down to New York real quick. There you go, Jonas.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. All right, surgery, 3 months. That sets up well. He'll be back for training camp and ready to rock. All right, Keegan coming up, Carlo coming up. Big games in the NHL tonight. Big Habs game, big Islanders game tonight. Columbus at home against New York as well. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Keegan Matheson in about 15 minutes. March Madness officially underway. You guys see LeBron last night? 41 years old. He shot 13 for 14 from the field.
He had a couple nice dunks this week, too. I can't remember if one of them was last night, but just how he's still getting up. And
it's crazy. Yeah. And, like, Luka's really come alive. Like, he was almost a triple-double. I think he had 41 last night. But, yeah, LeBron finished with 30 points on 13 of 14 from the field. At 41 years old, LeBron became the oldest player in NBA history to score at least 30 on 90-plus shooting by almost 5 years.
That was one of his best, like, nights he's had in his career. I think he had one other night that was very similar.
Statistically, yeah. Like, it's crazy, man.
Wild.
And, like, the Lakers obviously going to the playoffs.
Yep.
Big win over Houston last night. MVP race, I mean, SGA's got this. It's over. Sucks that Cade Cunningham hurt, so he's done. He's not even going to qualify.
No, he won't qualify. That needs to change a little bit. They need to alter that.
Yeah, I
understand.
understand.
They need to walk it back and admit, okay, we were wrong.
But I also understood why they put it in, because it was getting carried away in the NBA.
Sure.
Like the amount of star players taking nights off. I understand why you put a number in place, but maybe 60. I don't know what the number should be. 55, 50.
Maybe for MVP, there's no number.
Maybe. But all NBA, it's all tied to money, though, too. Like, if you get all NBA, you can make a lot of money. Like, Cade's going to lose a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not shedding tears. He's still making, like, $60 million a year or something. And it's a legitimate injury. Like, his lung collapse?
Yeah, lung collapse. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's dangerous, man. He's not playing through that.
No.
All right, hour 2 coming up. Kara Waglin in here, Jonas Siegel, I'm Brian Hayes. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel. Brian Hayes, Jonas Siegel, Kara Waglin in here. Our buddy Keegan Matheson coming up later this hour. We've got Carlo Koliakovo around the table. Carlo's on the panel tonight. Habs, Detroit, massive game in the East. Massive game. Columbus at home tonight. Ottawa playing the Islanders tonight. Man, Edmonton, Florida, which should be a big game because it's obviously a repeat of the last 2 Cup finals, but it's not because Florida's completely melting down and committing to a tank. Big day, though, for golf fans because I read online that the Masters app is officially available.
Oh, did you see what comes with that? Like, you're able to search. What did I see today? The last, like, however many years of whatever specific golf shot you want to find.
Right, over the last, 40 years
They have
or
a
something.
search function. You can find the video of any shot hit from 1968 to 2025.
I love that.
That's just eating time.
Yeah. Just
I'm falling down rabbit holes.
Give me an Ian Woosnam Friday round in 1987.
Is that a real person?
Woozy? You don't know Woozy?
I don't know.
Come on, Jonas. Woozy's, he's got a green jacket. He's buckled at the Champions Dinner every year.
Oh, that's amazing.
Woozy is about 5'2", and him and Stads, you wouldn't know Stadler either. No. The two of them are always tucked in the corner at the Champions Dinner. Oh, I love those two guys because they just look buckled every single year in that picture. As I would. I don't blame them at all. Does
Augusta ever make a bad decision? Like, I feel like everything they do, they just do it right. Like,
well, the app is phenomenal. The tournament's incredible. Although someone's pointed out, and I'm sure it's just a formality based on past champions being invited, but Tiger Woods is a player in the player profile of the app. So some people trying to put 2 and 2 together that Tiger's going to be there in a few weeks.
Yeah, I could see that.
You think Tiger's going to play?
I don't know that he should, but I could see him. He loves the Masters so much. If he's going to come back for anything, it's going to be the Masters.
I'd love to see him. I'm all for it. Just let him play. He's probably not going to make the cut. He's just going to go do his thing, but get him out there. Get him out
100%.
there. Yeah, absolutely.
But everything they do with the pricing, the old-time pricing. That
was phenomenal.
People from Augusta should come and take a stab at writing the ship for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Making
you want Fred Ridley running the Leafs?
Let's do it.
Write that article, Jonas. My decision for the president of hockey ops is Fred Ridley from Augusta National.
Should I include you on the list?
Yeah, throw me in there.
Okay.
You know who turned us down yesterday was Struddy. Struddy came on and said, I'm not accepting that offer.
Is it because it's the Leafs or he wouldn't want that job at all?
He's got a hockey school out in Edmonton. It's very lucrative.
Doesn't want to wear suits.
Yeah, he doesn't want to wear suits. It's a totally reasonable explanation.
You don't have to wear suits anymore.
Yeah, if you're the president, you can decide what you're doing.
Right, exactly.
I'd run it. I'd like to run the operation.
Yeah, you could do it?
I think I could. I think I'd get right in there and run the whole operation. Like I said, I've already mandated 30 draft picks in the next 3 years. I want a completely overhauled farm system. And I'm keeping Matthews. I'm keeping Nylander because it's been so bad this year. Like, to move off them because of one horrendous season, you might be losing value. You know, like, and again, I'm not sure what those two players are going to look into the future. Matthews in particular, I got a pretty good read on what Willie is the next 3 or 4 years. Like, he'll age and at some point slow down a little bit. Matthews scares me a little bit just with the injuries and the way he's looked the last couple of years. I'm concerned about where that's going. But
I feel like you as president would get so jaded.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not loving where things are going here.
You would be the guy in the corner that refuses to listen to anybody.
Yeah.
Is willing to die on whatever hill that you've made a decision on.
Incredibly stubborn. Incredibly stubborn. But yeah, I think there's got to be an overhaul of the whole philosophy. Like, I don't know what the philosophy is right now. I think that's part of the concern.
That's the problem, yeah.
I don't really know what this year stunned them, clearly. You know, they've been in the playoffs 9 straight years. They won the division last year. This was not something anyone saw coming. And you can blame them for that, but this is pretty extreme. Like, the bottom has completely fallen out.
Mm-hmm.
So more on that with Carlo Koliakovo later in the hour. So today it was announced Trey Savage will begin the season on the IL for the Blue Jays. And what that means for his return, what it means for his usage the rest of the year, obviously is up for debate. Bieber will not be available to start the year. Barrios will not be available to start the year. So the rotation, which has a lot of depth, a lot of talent, was going to be a bright spot and certainly something they relied on and leaned on throughout the season. I'm not saying they're still not going to, but it has taken hits. The complexion's a little bit off as we get closer to opening day, which is, what, a week tomorrow?
Yeah, we're getting close.
A week tomorrow. It's go time. Let's head down to Florida. Here he is from MLB Network, our main man here with TSN as well. Here's Keegan Matheson joining us. Keegan, what's your level of surprise on this Savage situation, the fact that he's starting the year on the injured list?
Well, I won't pretend I knew exactly what the injury was, but there was obviously something. Okay, it's clear that we were missing a piece of this story all spring. And when you're missing a piece of something 9 times out of 10, it's health. It's an injury. So this is not good news by any means. And I think a lot of injuries are being framed as good news just because the guy's not having an arm amputated. But there's nothing good about this, okay, when you're talking about a shoulder. A shoulder is very complicated, okay? And the Blue Jays, I'm going to be the dramatic guy this season, I guess, but games in April matter, okay? This is the AL East, and this is a division that was tied at 94 wins last year. The Red Sox are going to be better. The O's are going to be better. The Rays will at least be pesky, right? If you are only getting 20 Trey Savage starts instead of 26, 28, 30, that might be a win or two, right? This is worrying off the top for Savage. Anytime I hear shoulder, I don't like it. Ideally, this is just a blip, but I've got to see that proven first.
No, it's interesting how, again, it's amazing where we are with this front office and the organization and the reputation today compared to a year ago, where throughout this whole process, like I have noticed and I have taken shots from people online and everyone when I've questioned, like, what's going on with you, Savage? And it's like, how dare you? And Atkins,
don't worry about
Shapiro,
it.
They know what they're doing. Shut up. Like, it's all good. I'm like, I'm just wondering what's going on. And where if this was a year ago, it would be, these are idiots. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're going to ruin this kid. And again, they deserve an updated reputation based on what happened last year. But I think what you're pointing to is somewhere more reasonable and kind of in the middle, Keegan, that, you know, it's not the end of the world. Doesn't mean he's not going to pitch for them, but it is a hit. And it's something like they've known about this. Like he has said on the record, I believe, down in Dunedin today, like this was before he even got to camp. Something was going on with his shoulder. He's been aware of it. And, you know, they're kind of slow playing it here. And I'm not convinced they have an answer for when he's going to be 100%. Is that accurate? Like, do you get the impression they know when he's going to pitch for them?
I don't. No. And
right.
the thing that started to get a little strange for me was more recently when I think back-to-back outings, he threw the same number of pitches, 35, 35, 2 innings. That signals that something's not progressing, okay? And at this point, like the clues were kind of there all through spring training when Trey was handling this, I think, well, but, you know, giving some of the same answers, John Schneider saying some of the same things. You start to piece together the clues. And it's no great scandal by any means, but I think that we could start to sense that something was a little off. Now, there are 2 parts to this that I'm concerned about. Number 1 is just the workload. Do they need him to be back to 85 pitches? Is 60 enough? When do you want to get him back all the way ramped up? I don't know. The second part of this is that you've got to be good, okay? I use, and very carefully here, let me tee it up, I use Alek Manoah as the example. This is not a Manoah situation. I won't go down that road. But that's an example that I think Blue Jays fans
Nobody wants to hear that name right now.
No one wants to hear that name right now.
But we're going to at least look at that road sign, okay? When Alek Manoah came back, he got his workload back up. He was up to a guy who could throw 100 pitches again, but his stuff was not back after shoulder issues. So that's part of this conversation as well. Savage needs to get back to a workload, but then you need to see his fastball up at 95, 96. You need to see his splitter make a few people look stupid again, okay? That's the other part of this equation. And today, John Schneider didn't have a timeline for that. It's not smart to give him one right now, but I don't think this is something where suddenly he is back in the rotation 2 weeks from now. It's similar to Jose Barrios, guys. I mean, How he is going to pitch through a stress fracture in his right elbow, I don't got a clue. Okay, but I don't think either of these are going to happen next week.
So, Keegan, just for clarification purposes, because reports were out about you, Savage, and maybe I just took this incorrectly. He showed up to camp with the issue. He's feeling better now, but ran out of time to be ready for the regular season, which kind of led me to believe that he's on the right track. Everything's okay. He just needs to kind of ramp up. But you're saying that that's not necessarily the case, that there might be more going on here.
Yeah, you still need the stuff to be back. And in terms of timeline, you're right. And that's a good point to make in terms of how this worked. What we understand as of today, 5:10 p.m. Eastern on March 19th, he showed up to camp feeling not great in this shoulder. That's why it started out slow on top of a plan that was already in place. So it's kind of layers of slowing down his spring training. Now you've got to work that workload all the way back. And that's what they're doing now. They say he's feeling a bit better. But on top of that, you've got to get your stuff back. So it's like a regular spring training buildup where Max Scherzer or Jose Berrios or Kevin Gausman, maybe they go out on February 25th and they're throwing 90 miles an hour. And we all panic. Then they tell us not to panic and it's not a problem, right? But you've still got to get the stuff back. I think that's going to be part of this for Trey Savage, and to have the full motion, the full use of that shoulder, feeling completely 100% fresh. And I don't think the Blue Jays are going to rush this either. I know nobody rushes a young pitcher, but Trey Savage, this is one of the most valuable people in the organization, so you got to make sure he is all the way right.
With Keegan Matheson, so we know Savage won't start the year, Berrios won't start the year, Bieber won't start the year. So the rotation sets up Gausman, Cease, Ponce, Scherzer, and likely Eric Lauer. So that's your five-man rotation. Let's presume that happens. They got to go through 20, 25 games with that, if that's the case. How do you feel about that five-man rotation, and how does it set up over a possible 4 or 5 times through the rotation?
Not nearly as good as it could be, but a heck of a lot better than most teams would find themselves after losing 3 guys. Okay, this depth is really impressive. Like, Hayes, I remember when we were talking a few weeks ago, where the heck is Max Scherzer going to pitch? Well, he's going to pitch right here. These things work themselves out every damn time. If they had signed 20 starters, 15 would have gotten hurt. It just works out this way every year. So they're in a way better spot than most teams would be right now. But there are some better rotations than this in the AL East. The offense is going to have to do some of the heavy lifting early in the season, and they're going to need guys like Gausman, like Cease, to be dominant early. You won't have that settle-in period. And I know that sounds a little pushy, but again, American League East, there's not a lot of time to settle into a season, especially early on when you start out with the A's, with the White Sox, with the Rockies. You got to win a few ball games in there. So this situation right now, it's good enough to get them through. Eric Lauer, he gets what he has wanted, not the way he wanted it, of course, but he's wanted to start. He gets to step in. And if they can survive this, they just need to get to the next guy coming back. The next piece of news needs to be good news, okay? One more piece of bad news, then you get into who's next up. And that answer is not clear right now. So the next news needs to be in the right direction after a few that have been in the wrong direction.
Keegan, has Cody Ponce exceeded your expectations so far? It's just spring training, but better than you thought?
Hell yeah. He has looked really good. And spring training, guys, there's some things that I do care about, okay? I've learned, like struggling veteran, George Springer last year. There's probably some clips of me on this show being a little too dramatic about George Springer last year. I've learned that with certain guys, when they've proven themselves, spring is just whatever. But with pitchers, especially a pitcher like Ponce coming back, I almost treat Ponce like a prospect, guys, because he was in Japan and Korea. He's been gone from the big leagues. He's coming back a new man. He's new to us and what we're seeing. So the pitch metrics, the fancy stats about what his pitches are doing, how they're moving, matters. And it looks really good. Okay, the Ponce signing, I loved it from the beginning because it represented upside. If you're giving a guy 3 years, $30 million, you can give it to an aging veteran who's just throwing slop and is going to eat some innings and get beat around, but, protect a spot. Or you can take a swing on upside. That's what the Jays have done. I thought it was a great deal at the time. I like it more right now than I did at the time, and he has looked fantastic. I mean, I think it's a .66 ERA in spring training, and the reasons look just as encouraging, so that's a big one.
Keegan, we talked about how, I mean, the AL East is always tough, but the Yankees got better. The Red Sox brought in some guys. Everyone, I think we can all agree the Jays exceeded expectations last year. So there's going to be a little bit of regression to the mean this season. The sports books are not favoring the Jays this season. They're not expecting maybe what we're expecting from them. So where do you see the Jays with small sample size in spring training? Where do you see them kind of shaking out in the AL East and in baseball as a whole?
I think they need to be a favorite in the AL East, but the Yankees are right there. Like, even if I project the Blue Jays to win the division, what am I projecting it by? 0.2 games, right? Like, this division is so good. And I think that in Toronto and Canada, I think we don't want to admit how good the Yankees still are, okay? They're really good. They scored 1 million runs last year. They're going to do it again. They are going to get back Garrett Cole. They're going to get back Cam Schlittler. They're going to get back a good rotation. The Red Sox will be better. This will be tough. And the Blue Jays now have a target on their back, okay? I think this is going to be noticeable the first couple weeks of the season. I mean, big leaguers should not lack motivation. But if you are the A's, the White Sox, the Rockies, that's a lot of young players, a lot of fringe players, frankly. But you are now taking a run at the team that was just in the World Series and almost knocked down the Dodgers. The Blue Jays will get fewer lazy days this season, okay? They're going to get everyone's best, and you're going to need some players to step in and account for that. If George Springer regresses a bit, who's going to make up for it? The easy answer is that Vladdy can make up for everyone. Okay, if Vladdy is who he can be, he makes up for anyone that stumbles, but they're going to need some others. Addison Barger, Dalton Varsho being a couple more.
With Keegan Matheson. So you wrote an article today about Addison Barger, and he hit a missile yesterday. And like, you talk about a guy who's getting a lot of play around baseball.
He had a beautiful catch today.
Yes, and you know I'm curious how they utilize him this year. Like last year, it was basically only righties on the mound. He famously hit, I believe, that grand slam in Game 1 against a lefty on the mound. Like, what do you think the plan is for Barger this year? If you're John Schneider, are they going to unleash him? Is he an everyday guy? Like, what do you see his season projecting to be?
I want to see him in the lineup every damn day. Like, that skill set is rare. Outside of Vladdy, Addison Barger can do things that most other people cannot do in this league. Okay, he throws harder than just about everyone. He can hit the ball as hard as just about anyone. And we saw last year against lefties, sometimes there's some shortcomings, there's some struggles. But I think he is earning the opportunity to try that out and to show this team what he can do every single day, or at least giving him 145, 150 games. And I think he's in the right place mentally. You know, Addison Barger, everything about this dude is just cranked up, maximum 10 out of 10 intensity. And I think he's learning to, like, take the odd breath, you know? Not every day, but once a week, just like a quick little exhale, you know? So that's going to help him pace himself over the year, because no matter how strong you are, no matter how heavy of a weight you can lift, the season is long and it wears you down. I think that hit him last year, and I think that he's in a much better headspace right now. There is no player outside of Vladdy who has more power over this team's trajectory than Addison Barger. Like, he is the guy who can pop, hit 35 homers, and sneak into the number 10 MVP voting type of guy. Like, he has that talent. Maybe it goes the other way, but that level of talent's got to be in your lineup, man. He can change a game in a second in any phase of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to find out obviously by next week, but how do you see the lineup playing out? Like, let's say 1 through 5. I mean, there's obviously going to be movement, and guys, let's say there's a righty on the mound. How do you see Schneider filling out his lineup?
Well, behind Springer in the leadoff spot, they've been playing with Dalton Varsho, number 2, which is way different than like a Nathan Lucas, who they would do more last year. Varsho will strike out a few times, but we've seen 5 home runs in spring training. His swing looks great. Always trust a man in a contract year, okay? Yes. That is motivation, the likes of which I cannot even understand, okay? So I would bet on Dalton Varsho in every single way this year. He looks fantastic. Then you're going to have Vladdy. Alejandro Kirk works in there in that 4-5 spot. Addison Barger does as well. Then you have Okamoto probably down number 6. So the platoons will be played a little bit. I think Vladdy stays 3. He likes to be number 3. John Schneider would love to live in a world where Vladdy wants to be 2, but Vladdy likes 3, so Vladdy stays 3. But that number 2 spot's the interesting one to me. You know, that's the Bo Bichette spot. And I think it's one that could change quite a bit, but I don't mind the idea of Varsho getting that first crack. If he can reach base a bit more, he's fast. He is pound for pound as powerful as you get in Major League Baseball, so maybe he pops for 30-plus this year.
That protection in the 3-4-5 is nice.
Yes. Yeah, if you go Kirk into Barger into Okamoto, give or take, I mean, obviously Vladdy hitting third. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like, Schneider worked his lineup a lot last year and did so incredibly well. But we'll see. Every year is a little bit different. Is Ernie Clement an everyday ball player this year? I would think he is.
He has to.
If Barger's,
he's earned it.
Yeah, if Barger's every day. Is Okamoto an everyday guy? I would think. You know, so like, how much flexibility do you see in the lineup where guys like Lucas and Davis Schneider and others, find at bats over the course of the year?
And then you look at kind of thirds of the lineup, like the 1, 2, 3 will work. And like you said, Kara, the 4, 5, 6, that's a nice pocket. But the 7, 8, 9, that's last year where they had some fun with Miles Straw. They'd be bunting, they'd be running, they're kind of a different ball club down in that bottom third. And that's a good thing. You're not asking speed guys to be power guys. You're just asking them to be themselves. But I think Okamoto is sneaky good. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people, and he's going to be a lot of people's favorite player by the middle of the season. But Kirk in the middle of there, a perfect fit. And, man, if Barger pops, everything changes. Man, he can really take this lineup to a totally different world.
Keegan, I've been reading that Okamoto actually is a really funny guy, and that him and Vladdy have kind of hit it off, and that as people get to know him, that he's going to be, I mean, I don't want to go Munenori Kawasaki, but that kind of level of personality, is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, everyone loves him. His teammates love the guy, and so far, my job so far is standing back and just kind of watching. And the way he gets along with Vladdy, especially, they're like the new buddy cop movie, I think, in the Jays infield. Like, they've got their own handshake now, where it's like they slap hands and there's a bow, which is great. I think I've mastered my bowing at this point. I think I've got through the routines pretty good. We'll see. But he's been a great personality around camp, and he brings such a great energy. Like, we have so many more Japanese media members around now. It's just kind of perks everybody up. It's really cool. Like, I think covering Okamoto is going to be the most fun I have these next couple of years. And I think it's going to bring such a different energy. And I think people will realize very quickly how big a deal this guy is. Like, he is a big deal in Japan coming over to the big leagues. And his personality, we're starting to slowly see it. There's a lot to adapt to here, but you're going to see a lot more.
Love it, Keegan. Great catching up, buddy. We'll do it again next week.
You got her. We'll talk soon.
There he is, Keegan Matheson, MLB.com, and down there doing his thing. Been in Florida for like a month. Coming home soon.
That's not so bad.
Yeah, not so bad.
A month for work in Florida.
Do you
not
guys
so bad.
have a favorite buddy cop movie?
I need some options.
So like Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon's good.
Very high.
Rush
on the list.
Hour.
Not bad.
So
I mean,
good.
Rush Hour
I
1.
think some other ones.
Well, Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Pretty
That's
high on that. Eddie
Yep.
Murphy.
Midnight Run.
never seen
Midnight
it.
Run. Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. Is it The Other Guys with Will Ferrell and
Yeah, that's
Mark
okay.
Wahlberg? That's more of a comedy. Like, it's there's not as
It
much
fits.
action.
Yeah.
Like, Lethal Weapon's like an action
Yes.
movie. Right?
Beverly Hills Cop, I think, is kind of the pinnacle.
It's Bad Boys. Yeah, Bad Boys.
Bad
is a
Boys.
good one. That's
Yeah,
a good one.
good
Bad
one.
Boys was great.
Bad Boys.
Yes.
Is good.
And that holds up.
Yeah.
It does.
I would say, like, I haven't seen the most recent one, but was there 4 movies now? Or there was
think
4
there's-
total? 3?
I don't remember.
2, 3, 4. There might be 5.
I don't know. The first 3 were dynamite.
Mm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this season plays out. Like Okamoto, like with these new guys, like Ponce has been so good.
Mhm.
Obviously, Keegan's buying stock in Okamoto's impact on this team.
I'm fascinated with Springer because he had like the career.
Hit a
It's
career
almost a
season.
career year at
Yeah,
Best,
30,
was.
best
whatever.
year of his career
Yeah.
last year, no question.
What is
Hit a grand slam today.
what's reasonable? Like what should you expect?
I think you're expecting regression off that,
right, but, to
but
what degree?
it can't completely drop off.
Right.
Yeah, like if you can find, I don't know, 20 home runs off him, he stays healthy and gives you a good OPS, gets on base. Just is he going to DH like he did all of last
I would
season?
think so, right?
Yeah, I would
think
think
so.
so too, but I don't know. It's interesting, like how they're, and Schneider's got options, but Springer, Vladdy, Kirk, if Barger's an everyday guy, Clement, Jimenez is going to play short every day.
Yep.
Barshaw's going to play center field pretty much every day. Okamoto's going to play third.
They're pretty much locked in.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like you find Miles Straw's obviously still here, and David Schneider and Nathan Lucas.
Yeah.
Like those are going to be kind of your utility guys.
Yeah.
But
We'll get
We'll
some
see.
platoons and left.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Coming up soon. Week tomorrow. All right, big game for the Habs tonight. We'll get into that. Big game for Ottawa tonight, and the Leafs back in action tomorrow. Carlo Koliakova will join us around the table, a little round table with him. We'll get to our best bets later in the hour. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
Saturday on TSN 1050. Your Toronto Maple Leafs renew the Battle of Ontario on the road versus the Sens. Coverage starts at 6 p.m.
Johnny Toronto!
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The Leafs live here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, best bets a little bit later in the hour. Brian Hayes, Jonas Siegel, Kara Wagland, Carlo Koliakova around the table. This is a 4-pack. This is a core 4 right here, Jonas. Would you break this core 4 up? Or
I don't want to be part of that core 4.
You don't like this core 4?
Or if we're comparing us to the Leafs core 4.
Well, I mean,
No, thank you.
They got paid a lot, that core 4.
Okay, I'm backing.
Yeah, you'd take their money, that's for sure.
Hell yeah, the way they get treated here.
Yeah. They're like gods.
Gods.
Right? They're like gods.
I'll
right,
take
Jonas?
it.
You don't see it, Jonas?
Jonas doesn't seem happy about
Jonas
it.
is pro player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. That
You
wasn't
should
a
be pro
shot.
player,
It's
too.
true. I mean,
I'm just pro common sense.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
pro common sense.
Yeah.
There
Sounds
you
like
go.
a politician.
It does. What does that mean?
I'm for common sense. What does that mean?
Yeah, who
I'm
is
very
it?
biased.
Who is it? Yeah, actually, now that you think about it, I'm against common sense.
Yeah.
I don't like common sense. So what is your opinion of common sense moving forward?
For the Leafs?
Yeah, what is common sense for them?
I think the approach they have to take, like, you're not going to get players to buy into tanking. You're just not. And probably not going to get Berube to buy into tanking either. That's just the mentality of the team. Now, the organizational philosophy is, try to lose as many games to get the fifth or go in the top 5 and get a high draft pick. But the thing that worries me about doing that is then you slide the first round picks 2 more years.
Yeah.
Right? At least look, everybody can admit there was a bad trade deadline for them last year. You got to bite the bullet. You got to hand over your pick to Boston. I would rather do it this year. Get back to contending for a playoff spot next year. Then your pick doesn't matter.
Give that one to Philly next year.
Give that one to Philly.
Deal.
And then you can start over again. Because if you get a top 5 pick and next year's worse, good luck trying to sell a rebuild if you don't own your first round picks.
It is true. That is what makes this such a conundrum. Like
Right?
that those trades are just hanging over everything.
Like, what I would like to see is, like, down the stretch here, I want to see growth from Easton Cowan. I want to see growth from Quillen, from Bogru, maybe some other guys that get called up from the market. That's what you have to figure out. You have to figure out what you have right now with some other guys.
Well, I think the fact that none of them were called up earlier in the year would suggest they don't feel like they have much. I think Cowan notwithstanding, clearly. He's been here all season. Quillen, I like. I think, I don't know enough about where his future is going to go. I think he's aggressive. He gets on the forecheck a little bit. He's not a great skater. I think there's limitations to what his future would be. But, it's like they need a spokesman. They need a vision. They need a message to get across. They need to come up with a plan and commit to it.
Yeah.
And they're not going to announce it right now, nor do they have to. You don't have to announce it on March 19th or whatever. But the season's going to be over in less than a month, and you better have a plan immediately on what you're doing. Is your GM staying? Is your coach staying? If not, you better get out in front of it quickly and get the right people in here, and then find out what you're doing with your best players. Like, it goes without saying they have to turn over the defense core.
Oh,
like, I don't think they can win.
I think they're long overdue.
Yes, it is. And that was another big mistake that they made. In retrospect, I wasn't hammering on them when they did it, but they came back with literally the exact same 6 that played in the playoffs. The exact same defense core, and it's burned them. But the larger questions are Matthews and Nylander, and you guys are having them every morning. We've had them all week. We're going to continue to have them for months.
But just to before we move on to the defense, I think the return of all 6 defense and both goaltenders made you feel good about them contending without Mitch Marner.
Yes.
Right?
There was a comfort level. They were
there
veterans.
There was going to be a culture shift here.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, well, how can they still be a playoff team when you lose a 100-point guy? Well, you got 2 really good goaltenders, and you got all your defense back.
Mm-hmm. And it blew up on them. Yeah, because the goalies have been inconsistent or injured, and the defense hasn't been good enough. So you're in town here, or you're in studio here, because we got a big game, Detroit-Montreal tonight.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting dicey, man. Like, I think the Habs going to make it because I think they just outscore any other defensive issue they have or goaltending issue they have. They just seem to have the it factor for me.
Did you see that stat? And I give Frankie Corrado credit because he came up with it during the broadcast yesterday about the importance of goaltending for Montreal.
That's wild.
But that applies to every winning team, wouldn't it?
It does.
Like, you got to have good goaltending to win.
But it's more evident. Like, Montreal's riding 2 rookie goaltenders right now. And Dobish and Fowler. I don't know what happened to Montembeault. But
he's just around.
He's just around.
Yeah.
But, like, young team, a lot of their success is going to depend on the goaltending they get. Mm-hmm. If they get better than 900 save percentage, chances are they're going to win. Well, the record shows they're 27-0-3.
Wow. Talk to Ottawa about that. When, like, Ottawa's,
right?
The reason they're in the position they're in is because
the thing about the scheduling in the NHL is you get a big clump of games on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. On those days, there's a lot of shuffling that happens in the standings with teams that win and lose. And tonight's one of those. I mean, look at these standings right now. I mean, I'm doing the Montreal-Detroit game. There's 2 points separating them. And Columbus is on fire.
What a story they are.
Can I shout out Frankie, actually, for something?
Yes.
I wish I had this take. He's like, we were texting about it. He's like, why isn't Werenski in the Hart Trophy conversation? I was like, yeah.
Well, it's a favorite to win the Norris.
Yeah.
So if you're a favorite to win the Norris, why wouldn't you be in the Hart?
Right.
It's a valid
question. Is he
question.
the favorite, like the number 1 guy? Or is
he's the Norris favorite on FanDuel right now.
Wow.
Yes.
Over Bouchard.
Yes, your boy Bouchard over McCarr.
You were talking fairly like Celebrini. Like, who's the second best guy on the Sharks? Who's the second best guy on Columbus? Like, Marchenko, probably a good player, but, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's like Frankie.
He's clearly
right?
their best player. Yeah, clearly their best player. He plays, I believe, more minutes than anybody in the league.
Yeah, like
you know what was a nice pickup for them at the deadline?
Yeah.
Connor Garland.
And he signed.
Well, and Marchman's played.
Marchman's back healthy, but Connor Garland's been one of the best trade deadline acquisitions in the league. He's been on fire since.
Yeah, Columbus. It feels like they're going to find a way to get in, and then just Rick Bowness. Does he get any Jack Adams? Votes?
Maybe we have like a barrier like they do in the NBA, like 50 games you can't come in.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, Werenski. It's a valid point by Frankie. Like, you got to get in to be up for the Hart, historically speaking. Right, I don't know if you would vote that way, but
hasn't the Norris Trophy turned into
and it's
an offensive trophy?
It's crap. Honestly.
Right, it used to be the best defenseman. That's why Lidstrom would win it every year. Now it's like the guy who gets the most points.
Yeah, well, that's Bouchard's
case. He's got a 9-point lead on the second place guy.
That's his case. He's going to finish with 90 points.
Yeah, more probably.
Yeah, very well could. Yeah, something's going to give here though, because I think Columbus is getting in. So who's coming out? Is it Montreal? Is it Boston? Detroit? The Islanders? Pittsburgh? Like, there's no guarantee that even Pittsburgh, who's been a great story, they still got to close here.
Well, speak of Jack Adams, what if Pittsburgh gets in? Dan Muse?
I would think Danny Muse has got to be pretty high on the list.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Well, right now I think it's Lindy Ruff's award to lose, but...
Do you see it that way, Jonas?
I don't vote on that, so I don't know.
Why not? Maybe you should.
I don't know. They don't let us. Marco Sturm? What about Marco Sturm?
Yeah.
Yeah, Boston's been a great story. He checks a lot of boxes.
I worry about Detroit, though, because
the injuries.
They've been without Larkin and Kopp, 2 of their top center icemen. I think Kopp's supposed to return tonight. I haven't heard official word yet, and I worry about Boston. Like, I was doing the broadcast Montreal and Boston the other day. Over the last 10 games, they won 1, lost 1, won 1, lost 1. Like, they can't win 2 in a row.
Right.
So you can see this coming down to the wire.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the beauty.
And here's the thing, Kara.
Right?
Coming down to the wire, once the playoff starts, who's your favorite?
That too.
Well, you talked about the Islanders. I think the Islanders are a really sneaky pick come playoff time because they have the best goaltender.
To win the East?
To win the East.
Interesting.
You think Sorokin can take them on a
Sorokin's going to
run?
win the Vezina.
Yeah, I mean, Vasilevsky is right there. I mean, his numbers are absurd.
You can never discount Tampa or discredit Tampa, but
you think Sorokin's a
the
lock
East is
to win
wide
the Vezina?
open.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I mean, it just feels like one of those years in the East where it absolutely could be anyone.
Like, I hope it's Buffalo because They're fun to watch.
It's a fun story.
Yeah,
It
great
really is.
story.
Yeah.
And the year to do it is now. I mean, 15 years of not being in it. There's no Florida. Tampa looks beatable. There's
Now's
no
the time to
powerhouse
strike.
in the Metro. Anybody can do it.
Yeah. Florida's an interesting case. You know, like, I think most people assume they just get healthy and they get right back into the dance next year. Do you see it that way?
Absolutely. Because I think they're doing what people are screaming for the Maple Leafs to do. They're resting their players.
No, exactly. They
They're
fully
like, okay,
tanked
this isn't
now.
our season.
Yeah.
And look at the way it started. Started all with Barkov missing the whole season. Kachuk not there until, Christmas time? Then at times they've lost Bennett, Reinhart. They lose Seth Jones for most of the season. Bobrovsky.
Bob struggled, too, this year.
And it's almost like it was like a layup for them to miss the playoffs and to take this position that they're in where it's like, okay, well, the season's a write-off because there was stuff that happened that was out of our control.
Mm-hmm.
And is Bob their only major UFA?
Yeah, that's the
year?
thing. Like, I think A.J. Greer.
Well, if they
a
didn't
couple of
trade
other
him at the
guys.
deadline, you kind of got to figure that.
But that's where I'm reluctant to suggest they just automatically get back. Like, they're an aging team. They're a slower team.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob is like 38 years old. Vasilevsky had his 3 straight cups, and then it imploded on him for a couple of years, which was totally expected. He got hurt.
Yeah.
He had played more hockey than anybody else, but now he's back. Bob's not having a resurgence at 41 or 40 years old. Like, I think there could be some trouble in the crease down in Florida. And so, would I expect they're a playoff team next year? I think I would definitely project that. Guaranteed to get back to being the, big dog in the league? I'm not convinced that's going to be the case. Like, it's
I think
just,
that's fair.
Sports doesn't work that way.
No.
They brought everyone back. They've all made their money. They've all won. They're all going to be a year or two older.
They wear sandals to the rink.
Yeah, like there's, how hungry are you? Like all that kind of stuff. And there's other teams that are coming up.
Yeah.
That are knocking on the door.
They're young and hungry, yeah.
Absolutely.
But can these teams that have come up this year, can they sustain that? I mean, Ottawa's a great example, right? They get in last year. One thinks, okay, they got in last year. They're going to go on a run.
Okay, well, let me ask you, all of us this: who's more likely to make the playoffs next year, Buffalo or Florida?
Florida.
Ooh.
Just history, right? Like, they have enough of a base that we can rely on. Even if they lost Bobrovsky, right? I still think.
Are you thinking
they'd
this year's a
take them.
one-off for Buffalo? Like, you
Well,
think
that's
that
what I'm
they're-
asking,
they're
though. Like,
hitting
if you're
the
using
ceiling?
Ottawa as an example, it's an extreme one because Buffalo's likely going to win the East or be in the top seed. But Ottawa was a really good up-and-coming team, caught lightning in a bottle, hadn't been in the playoffs in 6 or 7 years, and now they're out. So,
Well,
it
remember,
seems impossible to see that out of Buffalo, but why not?
But
Like,
remember how it started in Buffalo too, right? Like, it didn't start great.
No,
and then they
they
went on that
terrible
crazy
the
run.
heater
It was
of all
like,
heaters right now.
right.
Yeah, I'll go Florida, too.
Right?
So there you go. Carlo, would you put Buffalo or
going
Florida?
Buffalo.
You think
I
Buffalo's
think they
legit
finally
and they've
turned-
made it?
And I think the presence of Jarmo Kekalainen there, like I know him personally. I had him in St. Louis when I was there, and you saw what he did in Columbus. Like, this guy is a culture changer because he doesn't accept mediocrity. And I think part of the challenge for Buffalo the last 15 years is they've had a hard time recruiting. Free agents, trades.
Are you convinced that's going to change?
Winning changes everything,
I'll
man.
believe it when I see it.
Winning changes everything. I think if they go on a run this year and people see how electric that place is come playoff time, because that building is going to be electric come playoff time, it might change people's
It
minds.
might. I do think, though, it's imperative they go on that run. You go out in the first round. You're not selling Buffalo on a free
that's true.
agent that wasn't willing to go there before. It doesn't mean that you can't find players to go.
Yeah.
You can, and this is clearly a big statement by them because I would choose Buffalo too. Like, that defense core in particular is now Alex Lyon. He's on an all-time heater right
He's the
now.
Lion
It's
King,
kind
man.
of come out of nowhere. It scares me a
Yeah.
little bit projecting the future in terms of the crease. But, I'm pulling for Buffalo to do that. But I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, one great year isn't going
me too,
to make a
but-
dynasty.
Yeah. I just think that enough's going to change this year, and hopefully more positive things come in the offseason where they can add another significant piece of that group.
Or keep
Maybe.
a significant piece. Like Alex Tuck is an example
Yeah.
of that. Are they going to sign him or not?
Yeah.
Is he going to price himself out in Buffalo? We'll see. But, like, if you can't keep your own guy, that's trouble. Like, that's the number one sign that you're in trouble. If you can't keep your own people.
I think they're going to be left with no choice because the market's going to determine what he's going to get paid.
Yeah. Which is probably 10 plus, maybe.
I think there's the way we look at player contracts moving forward is going to change too.
Yeah, if the cap's 120, 125 million in a couple of years.
You might have 4 guys on the roster that make 10 or more.
Yeah, the Leafs were Mavericks, man. They were
trendsetters.
Yeah, trendsetters. They were ahead of their time. They deserve credit for that. Dallas beat Colorado last night. They're 2 points back.
That's a team.
Is this a choke job if Colorado doesn't
what's going on with Colorado lately?
Yeah. Like, if they don't win the division, is it a choke job, or do you give credit where it's due for Dallas?
Because they had such a big lead.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But
they've lost 4 of the last 5.
You also got to give credit to Dallas. Dallas has been playing post-Olympics without Rantanen and Hintz.
Yes.
And they're on fire.
Yeah. I know. They're 2 best forwards, arguably.
Yeah.
Most impactful, I think. But Robertson's been great, and Johnston's been great.
Sorry, just pulling it up. If you look at Colorado's the rest of their schedule, they're gonna be just okay.
They'll be
fine. They'll be just fine.
Oh wow, I do see that.
Yeah, they'll be just fine. They got a whole lot of Vancouver, Calgary,
a lot of Canadian teams,
Chicago.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
you get Vancouver,
couple
Calgary.
St. Louis for a 2-pack.
Oh yeah,
they'll be fine.
They're definitely, but that's a big race, man.
Yeah.
You dropped it 2, and you got to play Minnesota. That's terrifying.
Did you see the Bettman stuff, by the way?
Oh,
that 1 versus 8.
Don't even start with Bettman.
Like I don't understand. Like, shouldn't you want to do like what your fans and your players want?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand this take.
Here's where I'm going to shock.
Are you going to defend him?
Well, here's my stance on 1v8 versus what we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard people say, well, it's not fair, and Dallas and Minnesota shouldn't be out in the first
You're
round.
going to say it wasn't fair here. Right?
No. I'm going to say the whole promotion of the Stanley Cup playoffs for 100 years is it's completely unpredictable. Anything can happen. Mm-hmm. So how do you know they're going to get through the first round? How do you know Minnesota's going to get through and Dallas is going to get through?
No, you're right about that.
You don't know that.
But that's besides the point.
No, it's not. The whole argument is they shouldn't have to face each other. They shouldn't be put in a position where they're going to lose in the first round. If it's 1v8, they still could lose if they're playing a different opponent.
The thing about
that's
1v8,
their whole promotion of the Stanley Cup playoffs is it's parity and completely up for grabs.
So the thing about 1v8 is that you're giving teams incentives to still play hard down the stretch. Minnesota right now is not moving their position. They got 15 games left.
Reasonable in terms of their 3rd seed, but if it was 1v8, they would be doing the same thing because they'd be the 3rd seed. It would be Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. The 4th seed is nowhere close to them.
Okay,
nothing would change in this particular case.
In most
You're right,
seasons,
but in this one, it's no different.
Yes, and his whole explanation is, well, the first round of the playoffs is the best playoffs in sports. Well, yeah, it is because there's parity in the league. It's not just because.
Well, and wouldn't it be the same?
It would absolutely
first round?
Be the same.
It's just it's fairness. That's where.
But don't you? But I think again the argument is if I give you this opportunity, I guarantee you're going to see this incredible series. Don't you want to see it? Like, sure, I'd rather it maybe in a conference final, but why pick your poison?
Not if I was on those teams or rooting.
But that's not.
Okay,
it's a business. It's not up to the individual player.
It's 100% a business decision because you're drawing viewers in the first round with better matchups, and they're going to stay to watch the next round.
Are they better matchups? Like
Florida, Carolina was the Eastern Conference.
So many of these same matchups. Like I don't know.
You're getting a lot of repetition for sure.
Yeah, but
and that's what I fear is that you got a division like the Metro that has Carolina running away with it, but one of those teams is going to be guaranteed a spot in the Eastern Conference Final.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Right? I get it. The first round's always going to be exciting, no matter who's in it.
It was exciting before this.
The adrenaline is pumping, but you just want the better teams with a better chance to advance. Isn't that why you play
Ryan
the season?
Bettman.
Right.
And here's the thing, Hayes.
Jerry Hayes.
You look at the NFL and you look at the NBA, they're always listening to different suggestions by owners,
changing and adapting.
by players.
So you think the NBA is in a good place because of that right now?
No, but at least they're evolving and they're doing stuff.
They're trying different things. Like they put the NBA Cup in. They did the
play-in tournament.
The play-in tournament. Like you have players in your league that are saying, top players, yeah, I think 1-8 is better. And you got owners and GMs that are saying it too. And Gary's like, I don't care what people say.
Yes, and that is very clear that when there's a new commissioner, and there will be, this league will likely open up to change. But, they've expanded to cities where now look what the NBA is doing. They're following them to Vegas and Seattle and
I would even entertain a play-in. Like, it's more revenue.
That would be
more teams stay in it longer. Now, granted, the trade deadline would probably, but when you look at the trade deadline in the last 2 years, it's been a dud.
I just think you got to watch what you wish for because, again, the NBA, I think it's been too much change and it has not helped. Like the NBA Cup is, who the hell cares
That's
about the NBA
good,
Cup?
but the play-in's fun.
But I'm okay with the play-in. But they've reworked the CBA where there's contract restrictions. Exactly. It's taken away from historically what the NBA has represented.
Well, I think the bigger problem
not in a better place
today is the players. I mean, granted to Giannis for pushing back, saying, no, I'm not. You're not resting me. I'm playing.
Yeah, he wants to play.
Like in the NBA, that's the bigger problem is that players find more ways not to play than play.
Well, and now they're going to expand, and there's some really awful teams in the NBA. Yeah. Look at last night. There were like 6 or 7 games that were like 20-plus point blowouts.
I know.
And now you can have two more brutal teams in the league?
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. All right, buddy. We'll catch you on the panel tonight, and we'll catch you tomorrow on First Up.
Good seeing everybody.
Great seeing you. Carlo Coliac.
Ready for golf season?
I was ready like a month and a half ago.
There's a golf course near my house that's opening up tomorrow.
No way.
Oh, come on.
What's the weather looking like tomorrow?
I mean,
it's still not even
like
close.
Snow and like
you can't golf in this.
I was going to tell you actually. I saw 4 people in shorts today when I went.
That's outrageous behavior.
Yeah, that's too
I can't support that. Shorts guy is just a different breed. Should be studied. Shorts guy. Whole mentality on life. All right. Good seeing you, Carlo. Best Bets coming up. OverDrive continues on YouTube Live.
OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm on the over tonight. Habs, Red Wings, over.
You nailed that yesterday, I think.
I did. You're
the
right.
Raps blew out the Bulls.
They won by 30-plus last night. Like that. They're starting to pick it up. Like, we'll see what happens.
They
the
had
Raps.
2 huge wins over the weekend against good teams. I mean, the next couple teams they need to beat, they're not good, but last night was the first time where they kept their foot on the pedal the whole time.
Yes.
Like, they had a good fourth quarter. Everything went as should be.
Their playoffs right around the corner. You just got to be in that top 6, man. Got to be in that top 6. You want to avoid the play-in. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays around the sports world available on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 18+. Physically located in Ontario. Valspar ongoing. Got spring training. You got hockey. You got basketball. The tournaments off and running. It's a beautiful thing.
Great. Good time of year. We're going to be on the golf course. And
the Masters
3 weeks
app.
Max.
3 weeks, you think?
I'm saying 3 weeks I'm on the course. Somewhere.
I don't know about that.
It may not be pretty.
Yeah, that could be dog track.
It might be chucking, just
really
chunking some shots, but.
Really, really ugly. But I'm with you. I hope so. I'm pulling for it. All right, guys. Great seeing you, too. Appreciate you doing this, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Carol Waglin, Jonas Sigo of The Athletic. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live. Every show up on TSN's YouTube channel. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll chat then.